Labyrinth, LNTV say, focus on the environment. Our well protect our forest. So don't be wasting the street, polluting our water. Emagro, fellow Labyrinth.
Hello, Labyrinth.
LNTV say, focus on the environment. Our well protect our forest. So don't be wasting the street, polluting our water.
Hello and welcome to Focus on the Environment. This program discusses issues affecting our environment. Today, we will exclusively discuss the National Conference on the Environment and Climate Change. To find out more about how Liberia will benefit from the conference, we are having experts from the Environmental Protection Agency to provide more details. I'm Rachel Benwikoli. Be my guest.
Labyrinth, LNTV say, focus on the environment. Our well protect our forest. So don't be wasting the street, polluting our water. Emagro, fellow Labyrinth.
Hello, Labyrinth.
LNTV say, focus on the environment. Our well protect our forest. So don't be wasting the street, polluting our water. Emagro, fellow Labyrinth. Emagro, fellow Labyrinth.
Welcome back. Like I said earlier, we are going to discuss the upcoming National Conference on the Environment and Climate Change. Our guests are Professor Benjamin Camo, the Chief Technical Advisor at the EPA, and Madam Frances Brown Sedu, the Intersectoral Manager also at the EPA. Welcome to you both. So tell us, Prof. Camo and Madam Frances, tell us about this upcoming National Conference on the environment and climate change. Starting with you, Prof. Camo.
Yeah, thank you, Rachel. The National Conference on Environment and Climate Change has a theme, ecosystem restoration, a pathway to a sustainable environment.
Say that again.
Ecosystem restoration, a pathway to a sustainable environment. That's the theme of this conference.
Good.
As you know, the EPA is the statutory arm of government that is responsible for environmental governance and leadership. In short, we have the responsibility to police the water, the air, and the land. And for the past time, we have been working hard, as you know, since the existence of the EPA in 2003.
Okay.
So to many, the EPA is a new entity. To others, we are doing a lot.
Okay.
And to others, they don't know what the EPA is doing.
Yeah, sure.
Being in existence for more than 15 years, having had 2 national conferences, we thought it wise under this administration to assemble again, to take stock in terms of where are we, where do we intend to go, and how do we intend to go there.
So before I ask Madam Sedu, that where are we? I want you to address that where are we now as we still with the environment.
Where are we? As you know, your entity has been following us everywhere we go.
Oh, sure.
We have been having series of national workshops in training people as it relates to the usage of chemical, as it relates to how do we address the issue of climate change in Liberia. What are we doing to protect our biodiversity? What are we doing as it relates to our carbon emission? So we have been doing a lot of work, and more important, bringing the private sector on board in terms of environmental compliance and enforcement.
So I'm a witness to all of the workshop because I benefited from some, and that is what gave breath to this program we are doing today.
That's true.
So you talk about bringing the private sector on board.
As you may know, fighting the climate change, addressing sustainable development, it has to do with three pillars.
Okay.
The environment, economics, at the same time we look at the livelihood of the people.
Okay.
So for us, we are working in terms of how do we strike a balance in terms of addressing environmental integrity, promoting economic development, at the same time addressing the livelihood of the Liberian people. So we want to showcase what we have done in the past years. Who are those we have worked with, and where we think we can take this country to the next level as it relates to sustainable development under the leadership of His Excellency President George Manawiya.
That's good. Maracelo, do you want to add to what Prof. Campbell just said?
Okay, so thank you once again.
Mhm.
So this conference is also to promote environmental awareness and bringing together actors. Because like you said, we have been doing a lot over the years since EPA was established. But with the work that we have done, not many people still understand till now the workings of the EPA. So it's like bringing different actors together under one roof to see how best we can all address the issue, the emerging issue in the environment, and then talking about climate change. So there are a lot of things that will be happening during the conference, so that people understand, our functions, so people know what we have been doing. Because it's like you are doing and other people are, don't know. So the conference will bring about sectors, different sectors. So we are even getting the youth, like you talk about the private sectors, we having people from the academia and a lot of people that have to do with the environment, because the environment is cross-cutting. So that's why this conference will bring about everybody to see how best we can discuss issues relating to the environment.
So why is it important for Liberia to host such conference at this time?
Yes, like I said, it's important because the EPA was created by an act of legislation in 2003.
Okay.
So we have been working, so we are responsible to monitor in terms of compliance. So now this conference, there are a lot of things that happen in the compliance area. So these things will be showcased. We will talk about, we have international guests that will come in to give their own position, like in terms of climate change, what's happening in Uganda, what's happening in Sierra Leone. So now it's important that we learn from other countries and other countries to learn from us. So it's just about the awareness of the environment.
So Prof. Kamal,
Yes.
President Muya is expected to address the opening of the conference. What message do you expect from the President?
I expect His Excellency to inform the conference in terms of the challenges that we face in tackling the environment. As you may know, coastal erosion is one of those climate change problems that we face. Most of our coastal cities are being threatened as a result of coastal erosion. So I expect the President to highlight the importance of us working together to protect the environment.
So let me hold you there before you continue with what you expect of the President's message. With the coastal highway that the President is talking about constructing, will it protect the coastal cities? Will it help to protect?
For now, we have not seen, the draft plan at the EPA,
Okay,
but
okay.
we are cognizant of the fact that the proposed coastal highway will we have a major impact on the environment. And for us at the EPA, our job is to provide technical advice to ensure that once the coastal highway is, constructed, it will be able to meet the needs of our people. Now, I'll talk about the coastal erosion. If you can recall, when the president took over, one of the burning climate change issue that at the time we were encountered with was the issue of the D12 situation,
Yes.
where D12 was being about to be washed away as a result of coastal erosion. Immediately, the president engaged the international community. UNDP came in, especially with the, we provided those technical support in terms of, coming out of the design. Today, D12 is being saved.
Yeah,
Now,
sure, it's
the
important.
president has been on a county tour. He has toured almost 13 counties.
Yes, sir.
Now, like you asked me, what do I expect? I do expect that the president will be able to tell us the challenges that our people face, especially in moving from one place to another,
Sure.
right? Because the road situation is really impacting our people. Now, the issue of our waterways, as you may know, we have people that are engaged into leads of mining using mercury. I expect the president, to highlight the need for us to conduct our business in a sustainable and friendly way. But more important too, if you observe, the president has been at the forefront in erecting solar panels
Yes, sure.
in major cities where he
Yeah,
visited.
sure.
Now, for us at the EPA, we think that is an important hallmark because it helps to reduce Liberia's carbon footprint. If you listen to the radio, inhabitants in those communities will say, "Oh yes, today I will no longer use my jack-o'-lantern
Yes, sure.
because I have light now that I can easily sell my, the markets, especially at night." So I think the erection of those solar panels, I think for us from a climate change perspective, is a major important hallmark because we communicated to the international community 5 years ago that we are going to, increase the construction or erection of solar panels in our communities. Now, one of the important hallmarks of this administration again was the ratification of the Paris Agreement.
Okay.
The Paris Agreement, it was is an agreement that deals with countries working together to address the issue of climate change. Now that we have ratified the agreement, we are at the verge of completing a new climate change action plan for the country. So again, at that meeting, we expect the president will highlight the importance of this revised climate change action plan that is intended to buttress the proposed agenda for prosperity and development.
Thank you so much. Marasedu, you are the manager of intersectoral at the EPA. So tell us, how many sectors will benefit from the decision coming out of the conference?
So I'm ready. All sectors will benefit.
Okay.
So we're not going to limit it to one or two sectors. So we know that all sectors will benefit from this conference. For now, the conference, we had a pre-conference, and that will be headed by the youth. So they are bringing on board youth from all sectors because we also deal with this environmental NGOs. So the youth now will be having the pre-conference, and that will run from the 31st of May to the 1st of June. And so they are, it's a wake-up call for the youth to come on board in terms of action towards climate change. And then also the conference, you see, the World Environment Day also come after the environmental conference.
Okay.
So normally we host the World Environment Day every year, June.
Okay.
And then this conference precedes the World Environment Day. And then the World Environment Day gave birth to the theme for this conference. Because the theme for the World Environment Day is what? Ecosystem restoration. And then the conference, the World Environment Day, will be hosted in by the people of Cape Mount.
Oh, wow.
So this year we are going Cape Mount,
Mhm.
and the conference went from the first, second to the third, and then we all leave on the 4th for Cape Mount, and then climax the event with the World Environment Day. So a lot of people will be there. We have invited people from all sectors.
So what are some of the activities that
So now we
you expect
have,
to see at the conference?
yes, we have 5 days activities
Mhm.
with the in Cape Mount,
Mhm.
the beach cleaning up. So we have getting involved, the community dwellers, we have the heirs, the leadership of Cape Mount. So they are all part of that event. And we are also been working with schools. So to host the environmental competition, we have the question competition and also have the arts competition.
Wow.
And all is based on the theme of the event. So meaning we have people from all sectors, even from grade levels. We have people from all sectors that are going to benefit from this conference.
So to continue with this program, we are going to take this very short break, and when we come back, Prof. Kamo, I would like to know who your sponsors are. So let's take this break, and this is focused on the environment. I am Rachel Bangwekodi, and I have 2 experts from the Environmental Protection Agency, Prof. Benjamin Kamo, Chief Technical Advisor, and Madam Frances Brown Sedu. We will be back shortly.
Labyrinth, LNTVC. Focus on the environment. Our well protect our forest. So don't be wasting the street, polluting our water. Mangrove fellow labyrinth.
Hello, Labyrinth.
LNTVC. Focus on the environment. Our well protect our forest. So don't be wasting the street, polluting our water. Mangrove fellow labyrinth. Mangrove fellow labyrinth.
Welcome back. This is Focus on the Environment, and I am Rachel Bangwekodi. Prof. Kamo, before we took that break, I asked you, who are your partners?
Who are our partners?
Mhm.
Okay.
Especially helping you to carry out
This is a national conference.
conference.
The EPA is in charge.
Okay.
The government of Liberia is providing 100% support.
Okay.
Who are our partners in this business? You know, we don't work alone.
Sure.
We have the United Nations Development Program Office in Liberia,
The UNDP.
the UNDP Conservation International. We have the European Union Long-Term Technical Assistance. They are also providing support. And then of late, we have the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa. So in short, we have the government that is taking the lead because it is our moral constitutional responsibility to ensure that we provide the necessary funds. And then where we have fallen short, other partners have come in to assist us.
So, what are some of those supports that your partners have been giving apart from the funding? What other support?
Support in terms of providing souvenirs, support in terms of making sure that we have good publicity as it relates to the conference, support in terms of how do we get some of our international partners to come in to participate in this program, support in terms of making sure that we have the youth, to have, a meeting, because as you may know, the youth constitute 60% of the population of this country.
Sure.
So we thought it wise, to have, the youth assemble, where, they would discuss, the environment and come up, with their own declaration. So we have overwhelming support.
So, Madam Sedu, you talk about when talking about the activities we expect out of the conference, you talk about the quizzing competition. So how many schools are you targeting?
We targeted 10 schools.
Mhm.
So we also did it in a way that they will appear in studio.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have 5 students from each school. So the 10 schools, and then we also talk about the arts competition, wherein we also talk about 10 schools, and they have already started sending in their entry. So meaning by next week, we will start the activities rolling.
So, Prof. Kamo, what would be highlighted, let's say, the main issues or topic?
If you look at the agenda cuts across a lot of issues.
Okay.
First, as you may know, one of, again, the achievements under this administration, that is we have been able to update the forest inventory of this country.
Okay.
What do we mean? We have checked the trees,
Mhm.
and we can tell you how many trees that we have, especially looking at those trees of commercial value in the country. We can tell you our capacity in terms of
Let me hold you there.
Yeah.
So when you say trees of commercial value,
values. Yes.
please explain more. Is it value to cut down or to
Once
keep
we
it?
say commercial value, when we cut, you sell, you get money.
And yet we are talking about protecting our forests.
No, it is true. I mean, protecting our forest doesn't mean that we cannot cut down trees.
Okay.
What we engage in is what we call sustainable forest management.
Okay.
Those trees that reach the appropriate size, we cut those trees. Now, we are going to look at the EPA. Many of us don't know what we do, what is happening at the EPA. The EPA has 3 regulatory frameworks. The Act creating the EPA, the environmental policy, and then the environmental protection and management law. Now, we're going to also highlight the threats associated with the environment. Now you have West African migrants are coming in, harvesting our resources on a sustainable way. For instance, you have people harvesting our forest resources. You have people in the gold mine where the usage of mercury.
Destroying the forest.
So we're going to provide, a snapshot in terms of threats associated with the environment. Of late, you've been hearing that the EPA has been arresting chemicals. There is a huge, importation of chemicals in the country, and some are coming through the back door. Now, the wetlands. We've been out there trying to sensitize people to do not build in the wetlands. For whatever reason, it's continuing to be an embarrassment. People continue to destroy the wetland, and that is a fragile ecosystem that we are on an obligation to protect.
But
Now,
sometimes
the plastic.
we see sign
Yeah,
from EPA hot,
hot.
and yet that particular work will go on. So
Yes, whenever you see that sign, it means that such person or proponent has not come to the EPA,
okay.
for, what we may call, permit. Because normally before we permit, you must come up with a good technical report that we all, go through. And then once we see, what you intend to do, we say, okay, yes, you can do this, but you cannot do this. If you want to do this, then you have to do this way. But one thing also that is of concern to us is the beaches.
Okay.
You observe we have beautiful beaches in
Yes,
Liberia,
sure.
but there is a huge threat as it relates to waste, open defecation. Now, we are a party to some of these multilateral environmental agreements, meaning that we have to take a bold step in protecting our beaches. So we're going to have, presentation, as it relates to the beaches, plastic issue, that we are so much, engulfed with. Everywhere you go, you see plastic. Now, so we have to start talking about it now. What can we do? What are the alternatives? Now, Liberia being a part of the UN climate, process, we have to also showcase, to the global community that, look, this is what we intend to do to address the issue of climate change. And more important too, to bring people from the donor communities to say, look, please, this is what we have been doing. We thank you, but we still need your support. More important, we're going to have the private sector involved in this process, because in this business, the role of the private sector is very key. It's very key. That's the engine of growth and development. So we want to tell the private sector, look at the environment, look at the issue of energy. It's a window of investing. Look at waste. Is a window. Don't look at it as just being near waste, but look at waste as a resource. It's a mean of investment.
So let me hold you there and let Madam Sedu come in a little bit. So he talked about the plastic, and he was also talking about looking at waste as a resource and not just. But one thing is taking a look at Monrovia, just driving around Monrovia, you see a whole lot of waste piled out, just all over, just anywhere in the street. There's pollution. What is the EPA doing about it?
Okay, so that's some of the reasons why we are having this conference. Some people misunderstand the function of MCC, PCC, and that of EPA. So it's not the work of the EPA to collect waste from the streets.
Sure.
So it's our role to make sure that we create awareness to talk about the danger of just putting waste everywhere. Let's take into consideration the plastic. See how bad the plastic can be. Because it doesn't get rotten within a short period of time.
Yeah, sure.
It takes so many years. So it can even affect crop production. So something that when it enters the soil, it remains there, for a almost say forever. So these are the things that we try to do. So recently what we started doing is we have been working with communities over the years.
Okay.
So we've been establishing environmental clubs. So we try to take it at another level, wherein we make people to take charge of their own community. So we started establishing leadership within the communities. So they come up with their own rules and regulations in terms of managing waste. So that's the role EPA we are playing right now. So we also started donating cleanup materials. So we have also worked with City Alliance to see how best they have worked this with the Monrovia City Corporation in terms of collecting the waste, because we have done our part. We have done the education, the awareness. We have provided materials, but with that, the waste can be taken to a temporary disposal site, but it's the responsibility of the city corporation to take it to the final disposal site. So the topic about the ecosystem restoration is like something has been destroyed. So for us to fix it, we must come together. So we must work together. It's not just about those people that are working at the EPA, but it's across the country. We should all put our hands together to protect our environment.
Thank you so much. So we must work to restore. So it's not one person business, it's not the EPA, it's just every one of us. We need to all work to restore our environment. So before we go, let's take this favorite environmental quote by Margaret Weed that says, "Never doubt that small group of thoughtful citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever happens or that ever has." Until next time, I'm Rachel Benwick Colley, and thanks for watching.
Labyrinth, LNTV say, focus on the environment. Our well protect our forest. So don't be wasting the street, polluting our water. Emma grow fellow labyrinth.
Hello, Labyrinth.
divisé for the environment. Our well protect our forest. That don't mean we're in a street polluting our